Welcome to Business Incorporated here on Channels Television. Good to have you on the program today. I am boasting Namafaye. Now let's get started over the next 30 minutes. Uganda records 32% increase in coffee exports as more stocks are released to the market. The US, the UK and Nigerian stock markets are on holiday today for different reasons, and we'll show how the European markets are shaping up when we cross over to Frankfurt Stock Exchange for the European Trading Day. And of course, Nigeria is celebrating its first Democracy Day for 2016 and the one-year anniversary of President Buhari's administration. A new report is to be released tomorrow by the UK's Overseas Development Institute. Now let's get started with that coffee story from Uganda. Africa's largest coffee exporter has seen a 24% growth in coffee exports as more stocks are released to the marketplace. The Uganda Coffee Development Authority today, in a statement released in Kampala, says that exports jumped 32%, or 247,828 bags in April over the figures exported in the month of March. Farm gate prices for Robusta beans increased by about 6% last month. Robusta shipments, which accounts for more than 70% of total exports, was up 4% to 1.4 million bags. Uganda expects coffee outputs in 2015-2016 season to be a record 4.8 million bags, buoyed by favorable weather conditions and new plantings. Let's get into Europe, where a raft of economic data set out today. France says the economy expands 0.6% in the first quarter of 2016, faster than originally estimated, and due largely to improving corporate investments. According to a Bloomberg report, France's investments from non-financial corporations surges 2.4% during the first 3 months of the year, instead of 1.6% estimate. The latest economic report released today was good news for President François Hollande, who battles unions trying to loosen French labor law and improve job creation. France's jobless claims have fallen for 2 consecutive months, and consumer spending up 1%. Let's stick with the euro area, where some more positive economic news are out on Monday, showing economic confidence was up for a second month. In May, the index of executive and consumer sentiment reading increased to 104.7 reading from a revised 104.0 reading in April, according to the European Commission data released in Brussels. Officials of the European Central Bank are meeting in Vienna on Thursday this week and are expected to keep their loose policy unchanged again. Tomorrow, Eurostat is expected to release a report saying Eurozone inflation was up to -0.1% this month, and unemployment unchanged at 10.2% in April. Take a look at the markets. European stocks are stuck at a flat line today as trading are closed for holidays in the United States and in the United Kingdom. The Nigerian stock markets also closed on Monday for the Democracy Day celebration. Wall Street will be closed for the Memorial Day holiday, while London markets are closed for a bank holiday, which is expected to keep volumes really low across the European market. The stocks Europe 600 index was flat 0.02% after 3.4% gain last week. That's the strongest rally since February the 19th. The rest of the European bourses were mixed. So let's get a sense of today's trading day from Olaf Krieger, joining us from Frankfurt Stock Exchange, DWTV financial correspondent for Channels Television. Let's talk to Olaf for a few minutes on the issues across Europe. Olaf, it's good to have you on the program. A public holiday here in Nigeria. Things sitting pretty in Europe today with London closed. Wall Street is also closed for another holiday. So you folks seem to be the one in business. Talk us through the markets this day, Olaf.
Well, first of all, 2 important pacemakers are missing in today's trading here in Frankfurt, and that's the reason for thin trading in today's trading session here in Frankfurt. But there are also some good news, especially from France in particular, that the consumer confidence is going up in France. But there is another big concern really leading and ruling the markets also here in Frankfurt. It's the Brexit. And if the UK really is leaving the European Union, this will have a huge impact on German companies and the German economy as a whole, that's what traders, that's what analysts told me today here in Frankfurt. So this one is a big concern still.
Yes, a big concerns over Brexit. But again, if you look at the raft of economic data out of Switzerland, from France and Austria today, all ahead of Thursday's meeting of the European Central Bank, Mario Draghi. Look at this to us. Talk us through the market expectations, Olaf.
Well, first of all, let's have a closer look to what's happening here at the Frankfurt stock market. So the old motto, sell in May and go away, is not always true, as you might can see behind me, and the expectations for the months of June. Yeah, well, it depends on what kind of figures, what kind of data coming out to the German economy. And I think ECB Chief Mario Draghi is still willing to do everything to keep the economy up with his interest rates policy. But if the U.S. is going to rate the interest rates, and they have to do so sooner or later, that means a kind of a pressure also for the ECB, especially for Mario Draghi.
Yes, Olaf, thanks for bringing in the FOMC into the conversation with what Janet Yellen says a few days ago, or last week to be precise. Now, let's look at the Mario Draghi's ECB. What is this the ECB expected to deliver on Thursday? Drill this down a little bit for us. The FOMC on one hand, the ECB on the other hand. We're ending the month of May. We're starting June. That's the end of the second quarter, technically speaking. Talk us through this. What are the expectations from the marketplace?
Well, this is the big question here in Frankfurt for the traders, for the analysts, and for the journalists as well. What is Mario Draghi going to do in this interest rate policy? And I think he's still willing to do everything to support the economies in the Eurozone, because there are so many economies in the Eurozone not out of the hot water, so they need his support, and I think he will stay with his special kind of policy and do everything he possibly can to make sure that the economies in the Eurozone are getting more and more stable. It will take time.
Yeah, it will take time. Thank you very much for taking time today to talk to us on the program, Olaf. Again, hope to see you for the rest of the week. DWTV financial correspondent from the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. Let's come to you after the break. There's a new report to be released tomorrow on the, of course, supporting Nigeria's economic transformation. It's called the SCT from the UK's Overseas Development Institute.